Guys, I hope you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, as always, hasn't changed. And I welcome you to my channel. I'm so grateful that you guys are listening and watching to everything that I've been talking about. And in this video, I want to speak to you guys about loneliness and how I believe I have this theory in my head. I have a lot of random theories in my head. But I have this specific theory in my head that tells me or says to me, or I believe that there is only loneliness on this planet. There is no finding your soulmate or finding that perfect person to hang out with, because no matter if you find the perfect person to hang out with, you're still going to be alone. Now, it's a really weird thing for me to say out loud. I've actually never said this out loud in such a manner before. So allow me to explain. People always message me saying, I want to find my soulmate. Like, is it possible for INFJs to find their soulmate? Is it possible for INFJ to find the person that they're meant to be with? Or in general, people will always message me saying, aren't you lonely? Aren't you alone? Don't you feel like, blah, blah, blah. And I always think to myself, I am happiest when I'm by myself. Actually, right now I'm by myself. My parents have gone on a camping trip. And I'm alone in the house. I can hear a few construction noises outside, so I know there are people around. And I can hear the planes going past, so I'm not alone really, if you think about it. I have this computer with me, but I am alone in the technical sense of the word, and I don't feel alone right now. I don't have that feeling of, oh man, I'm so alone or I'm so lonely. I feel so happy right now. I feel so surrounded by people or I just feel good. I don't feel lonely. I don't feel lonely at all. But I've noticed this about myself, that when I go out into a crowd of people, or when I go hang out with some friends or family, or when I do certain things when I'm surrounded by people, I feel so lonely then. I feel so alone and lonely in those moments when I'm surrounded by people. And even when I was in a relationship in the past, and I've been in a few relationships in the past, even though it's been a while since I have been in one, I remember how alone I used to feel in those relationships. I was so alone. I felt so lonely in them. I was better off just being by myself, because when I'd get into a relationship, it was so, I felt so by myself. I felt so, I didn't feel like I was with someone. I didn't feel like someone was there for me, And so as time has gone by, I've realized one thing is that even though you might be in a relationship with someone, the main relationship that we're in is with ourselves, right? And that's the main relationship you're going to be in for the rest of your life, for a majority of your life. For more than anyone else, you're going to be in a relationship with yourself. And if you're going to be lonely being just with yourself, then you're going to be lonely being with anyone else on the planet. It's just not possible for you to not feel lonely when you feel lonely with yourself, right? That's the most important relationship you're going to be in. But we also have to realize that when we search for a relationship, that soulmate who's going to complete us, a lot of times relationships fail, I believe. It's because the person gets into that relationship thinking that it's going to be their savior. It's going to be the thing that makes them feel less alone, less lonely. It's going to be the thing that takes care of them for the rest of their life. They'll never be lonely again. They'll never be alone again. And they get into that relationship and they realize it's exactly the same as before. Nothing has changed. They might have someone to kind of hang out with, but they're still as alone as they were before. They're still as alone as they were before, right? Maybe they have someone that's around them all the time as a physical presence, but they're still as alone as they were before. And as time goes on, I realize that no matter how much you try to alleviate that loneliness by putting things around you, or by putting people around you, or by putting noise around you, none of it is going to alleviate it. The only thing that will is for you to learn how to be alone with yourself, to learn how to love being by yourself, because the more you love being by yourself, the more you love being on your own, the more you are capable of being alone, the easier it becomes for you to be around, by yourself. Yeah. One of the main things people always tell me, the reason I should get married or the reason I should have children is so that you're not alone in your old age, right? They always say that to me. And I think to myself, I look at all the different examples around me. I've traveled a bunch, and I've met a lot of different older people from all over the world. And one of the things that they always, always tell me is that, they are disappointed in their kids because they thought that, they had kids so that they would not be alone. And they ended up being alone anyways because the children either not talking to them, or they're too busy to hang out with them, or they have their own lives, or whatever it might be, right? And I think to myself, but that was one of the main reasons people have kids. One of the main reasons people have relationship is so that they are not alone. So they are surrounded by people in their old age, So what? So that's not even a guarantee that you're not going to be alone in your old age. So what is a guarantee? There are no guarantees. It's a possibility that you might do everything correctly, everything right, and you still end up being alone. You might do the right things like getting married and having 2.5 kids and having a mortgage and saving up for retirement, and your husband might die or your kids might, like a billion things can happen on this planet. And so there are no guarantees that you're ever not going to be alone. So isn't the best thing for you, for anyone, is to figure out how to be by yourself, how to learn how to be on your own? Because loneliness is the path. It's a negative term, I think, in modern society. But for me, I think it's the best path. I love it. Because I'm not lonely necessarily in the negative sense of the word. I'm alone in the positive sense of the word. I love being alone. I love doing my own thing and all that stuff. Because when I'm here by myself, I feel not alone at all. I don't feel lonely. I feel surrounded by the good energies of the world and all the different mystical creatures that I can't see through my eyes, through the human eye, and the energies of the universe, and all the different people that have lived here in the past, all the different species that might have lived here, and I'm never alone. Like, my thoughts are there, my imagination is there, my laptop is there, my stuff is around me. I am by myself, I am with me. So how can I be alone? How can I be alone? There is no loneliness here. It's only, I am here. But I know a lot of people who message me all the time saying, I can't be alone because I feel lonely when I'm by myself. And I think that might be maybe perhaps a difference between introverted people and extroverted people. Perhaps introverted people are fine being alone and they're all right. They don't feel lonely being alone. But extroverted people feel lonely being alone. I don't know either way. Either way, I do know that if you are thinking that if you do all the right things, that you're not going to be alone in your old age, then you are sadly mistaken. And I'm sorry to say this out loud, but there are no guarantees. Probably, considering the way the world is going, you are going to end up alone anyways. So learn how to be by yourself. Learn how to live with yourself. Learn how to be alone. I'm noticing this in my parents a lot. Obviously they're living with an empty nest syndrome. All of their kids have left the home. And I notice how they have no hobbies. The only thing they do is watch TV, and my mom cooks. And I notice how alone they are because they don't know how to be by themselves. They don't know how to spend their time. Also because they're retired, they don't know how to spend their time if they're not working or hanging out with kids. There's nothing else in their life. And it's really, really a terrible thing for me to see, but it really shows me the power of learning how to be by yourself. Because if you can be with yourself, you can really spend time with anyone else without a problem. And if you're by yourself for the rest of your life, you will have no issues, really. You're going to be fine, and the world will take care of you because you're going to be able to take care of yourself. And I hope this makes sense to you guys. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir here because you guys are probably a lot of the INFJs or introverts anyway, so you guys are all right being by yourself. But I know a lot of you do message me saying, what's going to happen? Am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? And I think to myself, yes. Because even if you find someone, what is the guarantee that person is going to stay with you? Or is not going to die off? Or is not going to leave you for someone else? So yeah, you're going to end up being alone again anyways. There are no guarantees that this person is going to stay with you forever. And why would you be with someone who doesn't want to be with you? So you're going to let them go, and then you're going to be alone again. Are you going to find someone else to take care of that void again? I mean, is that going to be the cycle? You can't be by yourself, so you're constantly going to be putting people in that position. even though that you really, really don't want to be with them. You're just doing it because you don't want to be alone. That doesn't make any sense, right? And so I always tell people, learn how to be alone. Learn how to be all right being by yourself. Again, I hope this makes sense to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.